If there's one thing I've learned in 5 years of doing YouTube that holds true, is people seem to love to get pissed off about video games. And if that rings a bell, then this video is for you. We are going to ruffle some feathers today.
Oh, dude, I'm so excited. One of my favorite things to do in life is to make people mad. So this video is makes me so excited. We have 5 topics that are hot takes that are going to make you mad, and I can't wait. So fire off in the comments. Let's see how angry you get.
Our top 5 video game hot takes. Here we go. Leading the charge, number 5. Sim racers suck.
Yeah, they suck.
I'm not a fan.
No, okay. I get like some of the new ones. Oh, it graphically looks cool and all this, but they're boring. Like you're just driving around. Like, I love arcade racers because you crash into stuff and you're going fast, or like futuristic racers and all that stuff. But normal sim racers, what's the point?
You know, arcade racers, the unrealistic drifting, being able to hit shit and not blow your car up. You know, like Gran Turismo games just feel very stiff and sluggish.
They feel so slow.
And I drive my real car every day. I don't need to do it in a video game.
So maybe it's for people that don't drive? I don't know.
I don't know, man. And I know there's a whole pocket of people that love sim racers and they want the real racing wheel and they want the real foot pedals and all this stuff. And there's even modern sim racing games that I have never even played. They're like on a level of Flight Simulator for racing games. But every time I've played a game like a Gran Turismo or something like that, who's the guy from Ferris Bueller's Day Off and did the Visine commercials, for dry red eyes, play sim racing video games, because they're gonna bore the shit out of you.
They're so slow and they're so boring, and guess what, they suck. Okay. So I know that's a super hot take and there's a ton of people that love them, and I'm so glad that you're mad right now. I'm so glad.
Hey, they're just not for us. No. But the arcade stuff, even like Outrun games, stuff like that. Hell, I even love games like Top Gear and stuff on Super Nintendo. All about that stuff. But when it gets a little too realistic, I'm out.
Yeah, they suck.
All right, hopefully we're getting people juiced up. This one is something we've talked about on the channel before, and a lot of people don't like the terminology, but I grew up with the stuff. You kind of played it maybe a little bit later in your cycle or journey of gaming, but Generation 5, it just doesn't hold up.
No, Generation 5 just doesn't hold up. Maybe at the time it was revolutionary and all this stuff, and yeah, there are outliers and there are some games, but as a whole, as a generation, it doesn't hold up.
And I think people have this distorted, like, rose-tinted glasses when they look at the generation. Like, people love to say, I love GoldenEye. When's the last time you got 4 people around to play it? And you better hope that they knew what the hell they were doing back in the day, because if you get a random person who hasn't played GoldenEye in 25 years, good luck, Chuck. They're gonna, you're gonna play it for 5 minutes and say, I loved when everybody was getting so jacked up that GoldenEye was coming to the Switch Online.
Yep.
And I would love to know the analytics. I don't know the analytics. How many people have put substantial time into that game? Now, a weirdo like me that grew up with it, I still do like GoldenEye, but none of my friends want to play it because they can't figure out the damn controls.
Yes, it doesn't, like the games that try to do 3D, they don't look good. They don't play good. It's frustrating, and especially, like, if you grew up with it, yeah, you know how to play it, but like, if you try to show Gen 5 to new gamers, good luck. They're gonna hate it. Like, it just doesn't do well, doesn't hold up. It's so weird. Yeah, I wonder the stats on GoldenEye in particular, like on the Switch, how many people, they probably fired up because of nostalgia, and they're like, oh, cool, did you beat it? Yeah. Did you play through the whole thing? I doubt it.
Yeah. Sega Saturn, PS1, N64, this is all for you. Now, the generation does have things that didn't try going into that 3D space. I think of Symphony of the Nights. I think of some of the fighting games.
Yeah, there are some outliers. Yeah.
For sure. Some of the side-scrolling platformers that still look great, and there are games that still play very, very well to this day. Not demonizing the generation as a whole, but I do not feel when people get back into collecting because of nostalgia purposes and they get Gen 5 stuff, I think there's that little bit of pit in their stomach where they're like, what'd I do?
Yeah, they go,
why'd I buy that game for $100?
They go, oh, yikes.
All right, number 3, middle of the pack right here. This should get some folks fired up, but I do believe this to be true. I'm not saying it to be controversial. Konami was better than Capcom in the 8-bit and 16-bit era.
Yes,
go.
We're jumping back to the 8-bit and 16-bit era. Konami, hands down, better than Capcom. Obviously, I love them both. I love Capcom games. Mega Man, fantastic. But as a whole, Konami, way freaking better. And if we're talking about Konami, we gotta talk about Ultra, because that's basically Konami, so that just makes them even better.
Yeah.
They have so many games, so many franchises, so many IPs. It's absolutely, like, you could get rid of all the Capcom games and I just stick with the Konami games. I'd love it.
Somebody's saying Street Fighter 2, man! Street Fighter 2, the Disney games! DuckTales. DuckTales is overrated.
Oh, there's the game.
Hey, whoa, that was just a little extra one there for you. But even if you eliminate the Ultra stuff, you got the Castlevanias, you got the Contras, you got the Turtles games. You know, Manhattan Project wasn't an Ultra game, that was a Konami game, and then Turtles in Time, Hyperstone Heist. You get into Jackal, nobody talks about Jackal.
Gradius.
Yes.
The shmups, dude. There's so many freaking Konami games.
Bucky O'Hare.
Ah, dude. Yeah.
The Batman games. Batman Returns on the NES, I believe, is Konami. Batman Returns on Super Nintendo is Konami.
Yes.
The Adventures of Batman and Robin on Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, different games. Awesome games. That's just scratching the surface.
Yeah, that's just scratching the surface. I know a ton of people that love Capcom. And yeah, Capcom, they make great games. But overall, Konami is better. But I say today, Capcom's way better.
Yeah.
But back in the day, Konami was.
I almost have a full Mega Man collection.
Yeah.
And I love Mega Man. I would rather play Bucky O'Hare than the NES Mega Man games.
Oh yeah, that's a hot take.
Yeah.
Dude. But I agree, dude. I agree. All freaking 7 of them.
Konami, all the way.
Okay, this next one is gonna piss a lot of people off, and I'm a Nintendo fanboy. But if you're a fan of Sega, Sonic isn't even in Mario's league. I know Sonic was like the competitor to Mario, but it's not even close. You cannot say that a Sonic game is better than a Mario game, or like, Sonic just, no, it's just not good. Mario games are great, they're fantastic. Sonic's just not even close, dude. I don't get why people always compare them. They're not comparable.
I don't hate Sonic.
I do.
Sonic games, I think, are really good.
Are they?
I think the Mario games, 1, 2, 3, Super Mario World, so on and so forth, they're all-time classics. They are the benchmark. They are the standard. Yeah, I think it just holds true. Is it a hot take? Does it piss people off? I mean, the truth is the truth.
Yeah, that's a truth, dude.
I mean, Mario is a much more recognized figure than Sonic. And I know Sega dipped out of the console wars, and that sucks because I loved Sega. But the stuff I love Sega for has very little to do with that blue little hedgehog.
No, dude, he's annoying. But I do like the universe. Like Sonic on the Dreamcast, I love that game, Sonic Adventure. And then I also like Tails. He's really cool. But the blue-haired little guy, get rid of him, dude. He's just not cool. And I don't understand. I've tried getting into Sonic games. It could be because I didn't grow up with them, and I grew up with Mario. But I don't get them because you're supposed to go fast. Whenever you go fast, you get penalized, and then it doesn't make sense. It's impossible to play. It's just it's just not ideal platforming, you know.
I think the game takes the control out of your hands too much. You know, when you go through the loops and stuff like that.
And then you just hit a spike, and you're like, what the heck?
Yeah, I do like the games. Don't love the games, and I have to agree. Sonic is just not Mario's league.
It's not even close.
It's like
dude.
the minor leagues versus the major leagues. It's like double A versus
yeah. It's not even close, dude. Mario all the way.
If you've been around for the channel, I think you probably know what number 1 is.
Yeah.
You have beat this drum for a long time. I'll let you take the wheel.
Okay. We're going back to Gen 5, but we're getting specific. We're going on the N64. Super Mario 64 is overrated, and I'm going to say the game sucks.
Wow!
I played it as a kid, and then a few years ago, we 100%ed it. So I put my time into the game.
You did your time.
Yeah, I did. I was in freaking jail, dude. It was terrible. It was an abusive relationship. For sure. I think I made that joke in the episode. I've spent a ton of time 100% the game. Try and 100% Mario 64 and not get mad. Try it. I dare you.
Had fun.
Yeah, say you had fun. It's fun if you go, oh, I'm gonna play for a little bit, get 20 stars. Sure, play it for 30 minutes. That's fun. But oh, dude, I don't get why people even say it's a great game or like rank it in like the best Mario games of all time. It's like the worst Mario game of all time. Dude, the game sucks. And
people are getting pissed, dude.
If you remove Mario from the game and just put another character in, would you like it? Would it be on lists for like the best games ever? No, it probably wouldn't. Just because Mario's name on it doesn't mean it's good. Like it's just, and also the fact that you go into paintings and then once you get 1 star you jump out. That's so dumb. It's like the game wasn't finished. It's like it was rushed. Yeah, it's
a tech demo. I feel like for the N64.
Yeah.
I've always felt the game feels very hollow. And I want to walk back to boots on the ground when this game actually was relevant and came out. I guess I should say the game's irrelevant today. I mean, I think it was a leap into the 3D space. It did a lot for that.
It was revolutionary at the time, but not anymore.
I want to go back to the time. I had an N64 for about a year, and I went to a garage sale, and I only had like $10. And there was a bunch of N64 games, one of them being Mario 64, and I was really excited. And I remember I got Mario 64 and I got Turok, and I left behind Turok 2, Resident Evil 2, a couple other bangers. And I remember my brother and I got home and we put in Mario 64, and I kind of wanted to cry. Like, I never liked the game. Even when I was a kid, my brother really liked it. And I was trying to help him beat levels and stuff, and I would help him get through certain parts. And I remember it was hooked up right next to our NES, and I remember just thinking, this game is nowhere near as good as Mario 3.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even close, and I didn't even want to play it. I had a bunch of other N64 games that I never played the game aside from helping my brother, other than that first time, because I was like, this is boring, man.
Yeah, dude, it
felt hollow to me.
It sucks.
I loved the Mario games for the timing and the precision, and I didn't feel like the game...
This game has no precision.
It's because of the camera controls, and I know there's people that can speedrun it, and you say, well, watch this guy do it. Look at the precision he can have. But that's just what I felt when I was younger, and then when we went through and 100% of the game, there's so many games you and I have beat together that I had so much fun playing, and I didn't have fun playing. It was a chore.
It was a chore but we wanted to. We wanted to play it as much as we could to figure out why people like it. And in the fact of trying to do that, it made us dislike it even more. But I'm glad I can say I've 100%ed it, which means I never have to play it again. It's done. Never to touch it again. It's a terrible game. I remember when I was younger, I had it, and I had a few other N64 games. I had the Star Wars games, Shadows of the Empire, Pod Racers, all that stuff. I barely played Mario 64 because I would play it for a little bit and be like, oh, cool, I got a star. Or I got 2 stars. I'm bored. Let's freaking play some Star Wars.
Yeah.
Dude. Let's go pod race. Let's play something better. And then when you try to do the wall jumps and the double jumps and it doesn't work sometimes. It's just there's so many frustrating things about it, and people are saying, well, you probably weren't playing it right. I played it a ton, dude. I 100%ed it. The game is overrated. If it's on your top list, you're wrong. It's not a good game.
Wow.
It's not. You're just saying that because of nostalgia and because of what it did in the moment. Play it now. How does it play?
And I say this all the time. I don't think greatness has to be pigeonholed to a time frame. Mario 3, in my opinion, will always be great. Super Mario World will always be great. You don't have to say, well, it was great at the time. It's still great.
That's your justifying.
I think all-time classic albums. You don't have to say, well, it was really great at the time. No, it's still really, really great. Great movies, I feel the same way about. I think movies that you feel were great in the time, they were relying on a technology, and that's what made it great. It wasn't the actual substance of what the game was.
Dude, this is another hot take, but it relates to what you're talking about. A lot of James Cameron movies are overrated, and they're not very good because they were released at the time, like Avatar. Same movie, but then when you go back and watch it, the movie's not very good. But in the time, you were like, oh, cool, all these effects.
I think it was it was the hot thing. It was revolutionary. Can we give it that? Mario 64 was revolutionary, but it's overrated by today's standards. Our humble opinion.
It sucks.
If you made it this far and didn't click off the video out of anger or throw your phone across the room, I would love to know your thoughts on our top 5 video game hot takes. I would also love to know some of your video game hot takes.
What are your hot takes?
Maybe we can put the shoe on the other foot and you can piss us off.
Please do.
With some of your hot takes.
I love it. I love getting people fired up. And also it's opinions and it's video games, and if we think this and you think the opposite, who cares? We can. It's video games. We can still have fun.
If you like Capcom more than Konami, guess what? We can still be friends.
Yeah.
I might roll my eyes at you and say, pfft. But other than that, we're totally hood.
Let's just not talk about it and play something else. You know what I mean? So
it was fun.
This is a fun episode. I am so excited to read the comments. I'm so excited for people to say, "You're wrong. I
hate you guys. Unsub. It's video games, guys. Let's have fun. Let's get nuts in the comment section. We appreciate you tuning in, and subscribing to the channel. We'll see you next time right here on the Hot Take Machine that is Gaming Off the Grid.